Today's episode of This Week in MMO is brought to you by World of Tanks. If you guys have not checked out World of Tanks, just head on over to gboffer.com/tanks to try it out absolutely free. And have you seen that 9.0 update?
Game Breaker TV.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to This Week in MMO, episode 187. Wow, coming up on the 200 mark. It's May 9th, 2014. I'm Gary Gannon. You're watching Game Breaker TV, the show where we talk about all the crazy MMO stuff going on during the week. Joining me this week from Game Breaker TV, Mr. Troy Blackburn. How are you, sir?
Hello, Internet. Happy to be here. As long as this connection holds out, we'll be good to go.
Yeah, Troy's been having some crazy internet issues, so if he drops, we'll try and get it back. We'll see how it goes. And joining us also from Game Breaker TV, Mr. Justin Kennedy. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Enjoying to be here again on Friday. Feels nice outside. Feels
not having internet issues, apparently, so at least you got two of us here for the long haul. Let's do a different show today. Let's do a little different show. Let's catch up and see what the heck everybody else is doing in gaming, in MMO world. I've been playing a lot of ArcheAge lately. Went into alpha. Have you guys checked it out? Have you guys seen this? This is the XL game coming over to the west. Tryon's bringing it over here. Oh, that's something.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that's really appealing to a lot of people, and I've said this before on TWIMMO. I'm having trouble getting into a lot of the sandboxy stuff. I'm doing better about that now, but I'm getting into a lot of the kind of the class customization and kind of picking out different abilities out of the different class sets and stuff, and I'm having a lot of fun with that, trying out different builds and different mixes of skills, and it's really interesting, and it's really in depth. It's a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be initially when we first started hearing about the game.
Yeah, so this is like, so for people who haven't checked this out yet, it's kind of an interesting one and maybe a slightly confusing sort of MMO for a lot of people out there. So it does have a lot more sandbox elements, which means that there's a lot more openness to the game and freedom for the player to kind of do what they want. But what's kind of interesting that they've done as well is they've started the game out early on, which is very theme park oriented. Like there's lots of questing, and it handholds you from the get-go, where if you just jump into it today and start playing and don't know much about it, you're like, wow, this seems very much like what I'm used to in theme park MMOs like World of Warcraft, this, that, and the other thing. And that was my initial reaction to it. It was like, wow, I thought this was a sandbox. Why is there all this like questing going on and stuff like this? But I have learned my lesson. Playing through. So what I tried to do. Well, what I did
break
was
off into the world and go.
Well, here's the thing. You and I talked about this, and you were confused, and you're like, I'm having trouble finding the sandbox kind of stuff. And I was like, well, I took a character, and I did just try, and I was like, screw all this quest stuff. I'm just going to go run in a direction and just start doing whatever I want to do. Kind of not a good idea. So
yeah, because the mobs in the zones are different, can get higher levels, don't they?
Yeah, but I think that they've it seems like to me that they've designed it in a way that they keep the mobs off of the road so that you can actually travel wherever you want to go and kind of avoid them to do things and get to like different towns and ports if you're like trading and this certain other thing. So I don't think that's necessarily a problem. What I think is a problem is if you don't do the first level, at least level 15 to 20 through questing, you miss out on some really important tutorial stuff to teach you how to play the game, A, and B, some quests that actually give you things that are like super important to the game. Like you can't, your first scarecrow, which is your farm, to start growing stuff, comes through a quest. So I missed that on the first run through. Like I didn't have that. I was like, how are all these people growing stuff? Well, you got a quest. So I can see how people are like yourself are going to be somewhat confused as far as like, is this a sandbox? Do I just go run do my own thing? Should I quest? When do I break off? When do I stop doing the quests? I don't know what that answer is yet when you stop doing quests. JKK, have you checked it out at all?
I haven't gotten to play it, but I've watched a lot of live streams and YouTube videos of it. I just want to be a pirate if I do play this game.
You know, that's what everybody says, and I said the same thing, man. And I've watched some other people play as well as pirates, and it looks like a lot of fun. It's really interesting how you could steal stuff and things like that. At the same time, it's probably going to make gameplay for the long haul extremely difficult. I have a feeling that pirates are going to have a very hard time actually just getting around.
So what I've really heard is you can actually, if you go like you're supposed to not get people building like little just rowboats or whatever and going through the ocean, and apparently there's like huge jellyfish in the ocean that will just attack your rowboat and destroy it or whatever. There's a kraken apparently out there too.
There's a kraken, yeah. There's sharks. There's all kinds of bad stuff in them waters, yeah. Again, your boat, right? Didn't know how to get a boat on my first character because I went off and I was like, I'm gonna play it like a sandbox. I couldn't figure out how to get a boat. You get one through your quest, your first rowboat. Now, I guess if you know the game, you could technically just go off and do your own thing because I think we lost Troy, or he's just really. Oh no, he is here. He's back. Oh, he's back. He's just staring intently at me, just like listening to every word Ganon's talking about ArcheAge. I guess you could get all of these things without questing. There probably, I don't even know if there is, but there probably is a way to get a scarecrow without doing the quest. You get a second scarecrow later on. And again, the scarecrow, I keep referring to scarecrow. Those are your farms, which I think farming in this game is just is an absolute necessity. You have to do this. This game's all about resources, which most sandbox games are. But the level of depth in this game is like, it keeps it's mind-boggling. Like it just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper, and I'm like, wow, it just keeps going. There's more and more stuff, and so for MMO players out there who love really granular games, as far as like, I want to buy seeds to plant on my farm, to water, to that's how I'm gonna get wood, that I'm gonna build this house, that I'm gonna like. If you want to go through all these like different like levels of like a real virtual world, it's kind of filling the void.
Yeah, it's there. There is so much there, and like I said, when I actually got into the game, there was just tons more than I thought was going to be there. Like everything that had been marketed to me that I'd seen was like sandbox. But there's so much depth in the sandbox, so many little things you can do, and like I said, what I've been into a lot is the classes. You know, all the skills and mixing and matching. You have like 3 different class sets to pull skill out. There's a ton there. The problem's going to be what we always talk about with MMOs is always a huge problem, is that beginning experience. Why don't you give me what, you show me all this sexy stuff, why don't you give me that from the beginning? So how big a turnoff is it going to be for all those people like in ESO that hated that linear first starting Cold Harbor experience to get into this, what's supposed to be this giant sandbox where they've seen naval ships.
And there he goes. There he goes. There's that internet connection.
And farming and all this.
He's back. Go ahead.
Man. Where did my rant leave off at?
Who knows? Just keep going with it. It was great too. Right in the middle of it.
Naval ship.
I know. Every time I get going really good. Well, yeah, I mean the starting experience, MMOs, they always struggle with it. So how much of a turnoff is it going to be to players when they get in and it's just not there initially? Like you literally have to work your way through all this typical grindy.
So I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to. I don't really think you have to, but I think
even if you don't have to, they make it feel like you need to.
They do. That I agree with. On your first playthrough, if you've never played the game before on your first character, your best bet is to run through it and play through that stuff because the game is so complex that you want to kind of go through those quests and learn about how you're going to do stuff. I think on second character, once you understand it, you probably, like I said, could just literally just take off and go do your own thing and just start and just be a farmer or a crafter.
Is everyone's starting experience the same? Like, is there like the same zone all the way through for everyone's starting experience, or is it different for different races or anything?
I don't know. There's 2 different factions, correct? If I'm right, I don't know. I don't have, there's so much to this game. I don't have all the details, but I don't know if they all started the same. My 2 characters both started in the same area, but it may be because of what I chose.
I want to say there were 2 different islands you could start on, but I don't know that.
I think you are correct. I think
it would have been cool if they could have done something like, obviously too late now, but a different starting experience. I mean, if they wanted to be sandbox oriented, they could have done something like, if you wanted to be more focused on the sea, you could have selected in character select that your life, you were the baby of 2 seamen, man and woman on the sea or something like that, or pirates or something like that, and like they would have like a starting experience for people who wanted to focus on the sea and stuff, whether you were with a navy and then you rebelled and became a pirate later or what, but.
I think
Obviously, it's too late now to do that, but
But you would still, if they kind of focused on a certain aspect of the game, you still would not understand how much this game has. Because I can't stress how deep it is, and you don't know how much is there until you kind of go through levels. You know, I'd say about by around level 15, you're starting to really grasp how the game works. And
if you enjoy the exploring and the finding and the figuring it out part of it, this game's for you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's got that in spades.
so like, is the linear questing just to level you up, or is it just really just to show you?
It
Well,
does-
here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this. Now
I think
go.
it's both. It's both. The game is so complex that I think it needs like 15 levels to kind of deliver to you all the different aspects of what this game can do. I mean, Troy was touching even on the skill system, like a 3-tier skill system. It's going to be somewhat of a learning curve for a lot of players. It's complicated. There's a ton of freedom there. And some players are going to be like, oh, what is this? This is crazy.
I was a few levels past the point where you can get into like your second skill tree or whatever before I opened up the UI, because I was just messing around with the UI, just looking at things. I was like, oh, I can go ahead and pick up my second class now. Oh, look at all these other skills. Well, now how do I choose which one I want? Because there was a huge list, and there was like 8, 10 different ones to look at and try to pick what I wanted my second class to be. And I was like, okay, well, this is exciting. And that kind of kept me going and reinvigorated me while I was struggling with the old typical grindy questing kind of stuff that I was dealing with that was really turning me off from it. When I got into that, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is cool. This will keep me going at least for a little while. And let me keep going and see if I can find some more of that sandbox stuff.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't love the questing, but I don't hate the questing. It feels a little generic, and you know, some of the NPCs feel a little generic and stuff. But actually, the amount of stuff that I learned by doing the quests got me actually more into the game. And what I sort of found myself doing was, once I learned about an aspect of the game that I didn't really know about, then it made me want to start wandering off. And I guess that's maybe that point, Troy, where you're having this point of like, when do I start just going do my own thing? Once I learned about something, so like, let's say for instance, you want to build a house. Let's say your goal is, and again, these are goals you set for yourself because it's sandbox, right? You go, hey, I want a house. What do I need? All right, I go to this island where you can purchase houses, and I go look at the smallest house, and I look at the requirements, and it's like, I need lumber, I need a stone pack, and I need something else I can't remember. I said, okay, well, first let me work on lumber. How do I get lumber? Like, I find out that I got to have a farm, and I can plant trees. I can go buy seeds, and I can plant trees. It takes like 9 or 10 hours to create, get some trees. I could chop those trees down. I could turn that into wood. I could, 100 of those turns into a pack. I've got my one pack. I'm starting off to get to my house. But then I found out that, and I was like, wow, man, this plot of land is super small that I'm actually allowed to farm on. I can only put 4 trees on my plot. It's really tiny. Everybody else has them, and they're all the farms are protected. Well, then I found out people thought the same thing I did. So what they do is they go out in the world and they plant seeds for trees, and they try and hide them, and they put them up in hills, and they put them up in valleys. But you know what? They're not protected, and you can go up there and find them and start cutting them down. Now you're stealing. And it leaves bloody footprints in the ground that you can then be put on trial for stealing and go to jail.
See, I like that.
But I took that chance.
I like this prison and jury system. Like, people can kind of find the footprints, and if you get captured later on, they're basically your jury. They get to decide your fate.
Yeah, it's. So going back about, it took me time to learn about how the farming system worked, to then also learn that, like, when I questioned it and wondered why this was going to take me forever if I've only got 4 trees and this is the size of my land. Well, if you keep questing, you'll get a second piece of farmland, which is larger. So then you could have 2, and that's the maximum any one player could have is 2. Or you could do alt somehow and probably send yourself stuff. Or you could start going around the world and looking for people planting stuff like I did and start stealing their shit. Guilty.
Gary Gannon, the consummate troll.
Hey, that's the game. That's why they've done this. That's why they've only given you this plot, and they're sort of saying like, "Hey, go." So what people do is they go and they try and find these little like coves and high up hills and things that they don't think people are just going to go. There's no reason to go up there. There's no quests. There's no nothing. You got to find these like off the beaten paths to find stuff, and you'll find all kinds of stuff growing. You could steal all that stuff. So that's one way to get it. So that's what I think. But again, I would recommend for anyone who wants to try out the game is definitely go through the questing, because I gotta say, on my first character, I almost put this one off and was just like, I don't know if this is the game for me. And then I was like, you know what? Let me do one more. Let me do another character, and let me kind of go off and really do the questing and see if I learn a little bit more about the game. And it really paid off for me.
I feel like there's going to be just a mobile phone app coming out here for ArcheAge that just has a map that players can just like put little pins on it and go, found tree here. Start marking.
This is this guy's favorite spot.
Make it public to people. There's trees here you can get.
I wouldn't doubt if people are already doing that for themselves. I mean, you wouldn't want to publicize that, but for yourself to know that like certain spots are pretty good for people, like, you find little hiding spots that people frequent. Yeah, I could see people wanting to save that stuff.
Well, I think it'd be cool to be like, do it with like, even with the ocean and stuff. Like, this guild patrols this ocean quite a bit, or this guild's patrolling this area and killing people, and it starts becoming like a really cool public notice going out to people that you can have on your phone or whatever, and it can like identify. You're looking at an area your character's traveling in, you can see what's going on there. Such and such guild ganks this area quite a bit. Be aware. It sort of becomes like a notice board of in-game activity that goes on, so you are just like going through there purposely looking to kill them or purposely looking to avoid them. It'd be kind of cool.
And stuff like that a sandbox, you can, stuff like that comes out of sandboxes. The ability to play this way, the way you want, and steal things and gank people and hide things and grow your own stuff. I mean, that really generates a lot of things like that and kind of creates like a meta that can extend even outside the game. And that's going to draw a lot of people in. It's just my biggest concern is getting to it.
Is there a marketplace in this game, or how does that work? How's the economy side work?
Yes, there's an auction house, and it's an entire player-driven economy. So the best gear in the game is all crafted by players, all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the big aspects of the game. So yes, there's auction. Those are really easy to find. I mean, you can find auction houses and all that kind of stuff at all different points. There's also a whole island called Mirage Island, which there's portals near every farm area. You can hop through that, and it takes you to like an instance area where they sell all the things like your houses and gliders and farm equipment and siege weaponry and all that stuff. So that's all there as well. I haven't dug in to see how far all of them have. Some of them have different currencies and things like that you have to accumulate to actually get them. Yeah, it's got a lot going on, and I think it's going to take some players in the MMO genre. You kind of give into it a little bit and really kind of put in some hours to kind of really comprehend what's going on here. I don't know if I believe what I may be watching here is him feed and nurture a donkey as it grows. I'm not sure if that's how, but that's actually what happens with your horse. So, like most games, you get a mount, it's like, oh, here's your horse. You actually get a pony or a tiny little, like a newborn, and you have to feed it and you have to wash it and all this. It happens fairly quickly, and then it becomes a real horse. But then you can buy, all kinds of armor for your horse, and there's like 4 or 5 different slots on your horse you can upgrade for speed and health and all that kind of stuff. Interesting stuff. You guys hear me? I've talked about Star Wars Galaxies for a long time on this show, and one of the games that I really like, and I get the twinges a lot. A lot of Star Wars Galaxy-esque things in this game to do.
I mean, I do have to ask this though. The game's a couple years old already. Are the graphics going to be outdated soon? Are the graphics artistic stylized enough, or what?
Yeah, that's something that's. I mean, I don't. The art style is a little colorful for me, but I don't think it's going to feel dated. I think the more you get into the world, the more you start enjoying it. It's not super. It kind of falls in between. When you guys say like it kind of feels in between like a really super stylized and a photorealistic, like it's. Yeah,
it's definitely not. You don't get in. I mean, it's pretty. Don't get me wrong. You get in and there's gorgeous like zones that you're walking around in, but it doesn't look cutting edge. It's not like just bleeding edge technology where it's the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen. But I think it's probably just stylized enough to keep it from looking old in the next couple of years.
The one thing I do think ArcheAge is it might put some MMO players off a little bit is that it's a little old school in its design. So some of the newer features that we've kind of come to embrace in the MMO genre, things that were sort of pushing the boundaries, aren't really here. I don't think I haven't at least come across anything like we've seen like phasing technology for quite a while now in games like World of Warcraft, and now super phasing technology in like Elder Scrolls Online. I don't think you're going to see anything like that. It's pretty traditional tab target MMO skill bar with lots of skills. It feels like a harken back, which could be a really good thing, because I know there's a lot of people out there, maybe in your 30s and 40s, and you played EverQuest and you played Ultima Online, a lot of Ultima Online in this game as well. If you're a fan of those games, man, I think this is one to check out. Much more, it kind of hit me much more than I expected.
I think the biggest worry I have on it is the free-to-play stuff. I mean, when I think of sandbox, I prefer actually the sub-model for a sandbox game, so I'm not worried about free-to-play stuff. But how's that going to affect this game, possibly? I mean, are they just doing cosmetics? Have they shown much on that?
To be honest, I don't know if the cash shop is in the game. I don't believe it is. But if I know Tryon, they're pretty smart with their cash shop. I mean, all of Tryon games now, I believe, are free to play at this point. And if you look at Rift and how they've set that up, even though this is an XL game and they're bringing it over, I can't imagine them breaking that mold. And Tryon's
I saw an interview with a Tryon dev a while back that said, XL's in charge of all the development of the actual game, but Tryon has got pretty much free reign to run the cash shop and kind of the free-to-play the way that it needs to be run in the West. Because, of course, it's going to be a lot different in how things go in Korea and what's acceptable over there and what's acceptable over here. So they've pretty much said in an interview that I've heard before that Tryon, they've got control of the cash shop and they're going to run it however they feel it's going to, run best over here in the Western market.
So
I just hope they're actually I just hope they're actually talking to certain people, because obviously Rift is a full-on just theme park game, and so some of its certain things I don't think will translate well as in terms of the cash shop. Like, one of the biggest things in Rift that I know people threw money at without even realizing it was when you die, respawn right where you are. Where you spend money on that. Mm-hmm. I feel like in the sandbox game, especially with so much PvP around the entire world, that respawn right where you are thing could be actually I wanted to say maybe game breaking. It's just not really something I'd want to see in the cash shop and stuff. And I just hope they're analyzing it from that perspective, and people are talking to them about different items that probably don't transfer so well.
Hard to say. Yeah, hard to say what they're going to put in there. I mean, I think I don't know. I've got faith in Tryon. They came out of the gate when we talk about free-to-play games, like we've kind of give a lot of them on the show, a lot of stick.
Is that a dune buggy?
That is a car. You can give cars in the game. That's a car you can purchase, again, on Mirage Island, and some of them are quite exciting. I haven't gotten to drive one yet. It's pretty cool. You can go to Mirage Island and test drive all of these. But yeah, you can have cars, and there's vehicles, and there's trade caravans, and all kinds of stuff. Like, that's why I say I would suggest for anyone out there looking to give this game a shot is do the tutorial. I would say at least maybe 1 to 20. I think I'm just under 20. I think I'm like right around 18 or 19, and I'm much happier by the fact that I gave it a second chance, and I gave it a second character, and I actually went through it all. I think you just have a much better experience of understanding. And then I think what level did you get to Troy? I'm
level 13 or 14, something like that.
Okay, so you're kind of up there. And
yeah, I'm still early on. I'm definitely not making final judgments on the game whatsoever, because all the stories you hear of all the awesome stuff makes me want to keep going. It's just that the initial experience, that's what I've experienced. So that's just what we're talking about. I'm not saying the whole game is going to be like that at all. And I'm well aware I'm still very early on in it. But it's just a little rough getting started. That's all.
I guess what I would say is play it to the point that you feel like you just want to break off and do something and just try and go do it. You can always come back to questing, right? Like, you can always go back to your journal and kind of do that. Maybe just at some point when you feel it, because that's what I did, and that's with the farming situation, and that's when I found myself just becoming an explorer, because I'm kind of that gamer in an MMO anyway. And I just kind of went off and did my own thing, and it was really rewarding, and I spent like 2 hours doing that. I have not done the PvP yet, though, because now I want a boat. Because now I want a house, I want a boat. now you start setting goals for yourself, and you want things, and you're like, okay, how am I going to put this together? And it's going to take a while.
Like a farm. I want a farm. I've always wanted to be able to run a farm in an MMO.
Well, that's super easy, man. You just didn't do the quest. If you didn't do the farm quest, then you missed it. I think you should have the farm by 13, to be honest.
Yeah, I probably skipped around it looking for something more interesting.
Can't you just head to Facebook, Troy? You can play some Farmville.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, because that's the same thing.
Or WoW has it, doesn't they? Don't they? You can
Oh,
farm in there.
their farming's a daily quest. Believe me, I got excited when the first time I seen it. I was like, "Ooh, farming!" I was like, "Oh, this is just another daily quest. Never mind."
Yeah, I mean the farming in this game is I almost would say like it's a necessity. Like I don't know if you have to be a farmer, but I mean the game sandbox games are so run around real like resources, almost like the real world. That's how the real world economy works, is around resources. So I feel like without having your hand in the resources aspect game of this. But again, you could be a pirate and just go steal resources from people, and there you're still getting resources to sell. So you can play this game how you want.
Well, I also think if you don't play it solo, like if you play with the guild and one of your person's really good at farming, well, you may have a different specialty and you trade resources and you start bartering with your guild members and stuff, and you like build a whole system and society around each other.
There's going to be so many different things, so many alliances. I was watching one Twitch stream. That's what kids kind of gave me the second chance. I was watching, and I think that they were a band of pirates. I'm pretty sure they were. They sure seemed like it, and they were just slaughtering everything on the open seas. Like they just sail back and forth and troll the waters, just looking for like people moving trade packs back and forth. Because what's happening are people are moving like wood and stone back and forth on the open waters, and this stuff is like lots of time are being put into gathering that stuff. So these guys just go around and start opening up their cannons on these ships and just taking them down. And this one ship actually got into port that they were sort of chasing through the waters, and they get to port, and the pirates kind of let off for a little bit for a second. They were kind of watching what's going on, and then these guys, the guys started unloading their packs off the ship and bringing them up to shore where they could trade them into the NPCs for cash, I guess, or they were putting them in their mail. So the pirates, they had a couple of them, or one in particular, who had the stealth ability, and they had to pass off the packs. So he would go into stealth and sit and wait for them to put the pack down, and they'd put the pack down on the ground, and he would pop and grab it in 2 seconds, be like, "Thanks, guys," and walk away. And he would trade it. He did it like 10 times to them, and they were so angry. He was just stealing their packs right from under their noses. There was like 4 of them standing around. He was fast enough to click on the pack to get it, and you could literally steal stuff right in front of the opponent. And then like PvP would break out, and they just start going crazy. And I was like, okay, this game's cool. It needs a second shot. I'm back in, making another character. Here we go. So don't underestimate the things that you can possibly do in this game. So pretty neat game. I don't know. Check it out. ArcheAge game.com is the URL. You guys can go check it out. And I know they have like, they have a few different, I guess like founders packs and things going on right now, because they're in alpha. And I think the only version, the most expensive pack is the one that you can get instant alpha access and play today. But the other two you can't. Yes. I think you have to, yeah, so
$100 beta, which we have no clue when that's starting, right?
Yeah, so the silver is 50 and the gold is 100, and those two have beta access. We don't know when that is starting. The $150 pack comes with alpha and beta, so you'd have to spend $150 to get into alpha right now, which, definitely do some research and see if the game is for you and you're willing to drop down $150 on the game. That choice is for you to make, not me. But definitely having a lot of fun in it. All right, I want to talk about some other games, you guys. I want to find out what else you guys are playing right now. But first, I want to take a quick break for our sponsors. If you guys checked out World of Tanks, if you guys checked out the 9.0 update that just hit, it's super cool. Check it out. Absolutely free to play game. Don't have to pay to download it. Don't have to pay a monthly fee to play it. My favorite thing about the World of Tanks team is just that none of it's pay to win. You're having questions about selling, questionable items in cash shops. Not happening. I love it. Wargaming came out of, I guess, about, 6-8 months ago and said, we will absolutely not sell pay-to-win items in our cash shop. Just not happening. And they changed their cash shop completely around just to bolster up the competitive nature of what World of Tanks is. Like I said, they just dropped a 9.0 update that's full of updates, full of new stuff. And some of the cool new thing is that they now have historical battles, which is super cool. So you can go in there with your friends and fight through battles like Battle of the Bulge and things like that against other tanks. Really cool stuff. They've upgraded a lot of the tank textures and things. The engine is just looking fantastic at this point. And I know this is all in a big lead up to them implementing even like morph. They've added morph physics and stuff, but they're even going crazier with the Havoc engine coming soon. And really a great time to go check out World of Tanks. They've done a lot of really cool updates. Having a ton of fun. Check it out. And of course, everybody out there is always asking how they can support Game Breaker. With World of Tanks being one of our sponsors, you can support Gamebreaker directly by trying World of Tanks just by going to the URL gboffer.com/tanks. Make sure you use that that URL, and that not only get you to check out a really good game that you should check out, but also you get to help Gamebreaker as well. So gboffer.com/tanks. Check it out today. So what else are you guys in? What else are you guys? What's your game right now? I've been spending a lot of time in ArcheAge. I've been blabbing on for about 30 minutes on that. What are you?
ESO, and I know the chat room's going to love to hear that. Let's talk about ESO.
Let's talk about it.
Chat room can't love it right now because our stream is down.
Oh,
yeah.
Good. I can talk about ESO and not
they can talk about anything. You're not going to yell. Yeah,
YouTube's going to love it.
Twitch is on the fritz today. So
actually, I'm still playing a lot of ESO still.
Where are you guys at with it? I put it on hold for just a little bit to give ArcheAge some love, but what's going on? What's the state of the game?
Random crashes. I can't explain. Just talking to an NPC, just standing in town. Game's like, boom, crash. Okay, I guess I'll reload you. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, I've had a few guildmates talk about how they've been running into some connection issues along the way. But of course, I've got connections issues of my own, so I can't tell what's mine and what's the game. So I've got no way to differentiate. But I have had some guildies talk about, hey, is everybody else getting kicked out?
It's like once or twice an hour for me. It just pops up error. Okay.
Oh,
wow, that much, huh? Is that happening sort of like across the board with a lot of people, once or twice an hour on connection issues? What do we have any response from the team?
It's not game wide as far as I understand, because I got tons of people going, well, this isn't happening to me, and I got other people going, well, it's happening to me as well. So I don't. It's a hardware issue. Maybe it's AMD issue because I have an AMD graphics card. I haven't asked what the other people are using. But it's just something random too, and it's in the oddest places. It usually happens to me when I'm talking to an NPC. So something in there, but it happens other times too. But just usually in the middle of talking to an NPC, it's just like it freezes. The NPC keeps talking, and then it crashes.
Interesting. Well, have you gotten any kind of response via Twitter or forums or anything that they know that there's a problem going on and being fixed, or?
They still don't respond too much on that stuff. They tell you when they fix stuff, but they don't tell you if they know if there is an issue out there.
They do have terrible communication. They have since the beginning, and they've worked on it a little bit. It's gotten a little better, but they don't communicate well. Like Justin said, they'll tell you finally when something's fixed, but they don't ever say, yes, we're aware of the problem, and we're working on a solution. All just kind of left here to go, okay, we're trying to let you know this is a problem. Are you getting the message? Do we?
And said, hey, we're both playing ESO, so it's got to be more than crashes going on. There's the bad. You got some crashing going on, but you both are still enjoying the game, obviously, if you're spending a good amount of time in it. So,
well, it still has the story in it. I mean, I'm still enjoying the story and stuff, but something we did last night with the Gamebreaker Nation Guild, that was extremely fun. Like, we were getting tired of our campaign. The campaign we are on is completely dead, entirely overpowered by one faction, and they're just running it, and most people have left. So we went to a campaign that's basically always full. It's the top campaign on the list. They're always full. We went into that campaign to play last night, and it was just constant action. We always had people on the server to play with. There was something to go do. We gained like these alliance points that you earn. We earned the most alliance points we've ever earned in like an hour or two, and we earned even half of the credit you're supposed to, just because. Organize, capture certain places, defend, retreat, run back into the fight. And the PvP is actually really shining for the people who are participating on full servers.
How's the balance on the PvP feeling these days?
You have to be on a full campaign. There's basically only two campaigns that are really doing this. It's the Ariel's Bow and the Wabajack campaign. They're the only two that have the most population and the most even population across all three factions. So if you're looking for a good PvP experience, of just constant action and things to do, and the map constantly changing and flow between all three factions, you need to be on one of those two. Every other campaign, because they launched with too many campaigns, honestly, every other campaign is basically dominated by one faction, and that faction just is basically run over the map. And part of the issue is that there are people who want that. And the people who want that because they want their PvE buffs are leaving the other ones and going to the one theirs dominates. And so you're just seeing you'll look at the campaign list, you'll see full low for the other two factions and stuff on regular days. And then if it's any other day other than the weekends, it's usually just low across the board because nobody logs in to play, because if they do, they just get ran over or there's nothing to do.
What are you focusing on right now, Troy? What are you enjoying about the game? PvP, PvE?
Definitely PvE. My friends and I are getting up into veteran ranks. I'm about halfway through veteran rank 1 now. We're running back through some of the other faction zones, which is a little dull, but we are starting to get into veteran rank dungeons. I'm really enjoying the dungeons in this game. They're a lot of fun. They really... The first couple you kind of run through when you're first leveling up are a little repetitive. They're a little tank and spank. They're not all that engrossing, but as you start leveling up and getting through some of the higher level dungeons, man, there are some really fun boss mechanics and some really intense fights and some great zones and nice ambiance, and they just get better. So we're just now diving into veteran rank dungeons, and it's going to expand on that a little bit. There's going to be like other little offshoots of those dungeons to go into now, and some of the boss fights should be a little more difficult. So we're enjoying that, and we're trying to get ramped up and get ready for Craglorn, because we are all super stoked about that, because I think we've all said this. ESO struggles when leveling, giving you a reason to group. There's just not any benefit to it. It's a lot of times.
How are you guys finding grouping though? That's my biggest thing. So I'm still like banging my head. I'm playing Elder Scrolls Online like a single player game, because every time I even try and group with one of my friends, I just smash my face onto my desk. And I'm like, this is when I hate the game and I actually don't want to log in, because I can't play with my friends.
Yeah, I mean, grouping definitely is struggling right now, but hopefully Craglorn is going to, I mean, it's definitely geared towards giving us a reason to group, but the grouping as far as questing, leveling up, there's just not a lot of reason to, man. If you get a couple of levels ahead of your partner, I mean, it's hard for you to do anything. Quest objectives aren't shared typically. The phasing messes with you. Trying to group up and be in the same zone, they gave us at the very beginning. They said, our mega server is going to automatically group you with your friends and the people who play like you. Well, then how come every time I get a group with one of my friends, I have to zone into their actual area?
Except they didn't implement
We're never in
that.
the same instance together.
They said that they didn't. They canceled that before they launched. They said we're not going to implement that automatic. Put your friends in your phase. Put the role players all in the same phase and stuff like that. And they even announced recently in their. They did a AMA the other day. They said that due to technology, they don't see that coming anytime soon, and it was too much of a load on their server to constantly use all these preferences of your character, your guild, your friends list, your type of gameplay, and to constantly phase people in and out for that. They said it was too much of a load, and they're not going to do it. So chat boxes are coming in though.
I was having a conversation with somebody today. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to drop this bomb on both of you. So this is 1,000% speculation. There is absolutely no fact behind this. There's no inside info. There's no reason to think this. But it started getting my wheels turning. The delay for the PS4 version got kicked out like 6 months. The speculation is it will never come.
I don't think it will.
The speculation is that the console version of this game will just get quietly buried and not ever, right at the last second, 4 or 5 months from now, just quietly try and not let this thing release. I mean, do you think that could we see that? I mean, they focus so much on the console-esque portion of like talking about Elder Scrolls coming to a console and a controller and that crowd. Could you guys see them really doing something like that?
When's the next Elder Scrolls game supposed to come out? If they keep pushing back Elder Scrolls Online, it's just going to interrupt and be an annoyance to the next single player.
Well, they've
Elder
only
Scrolls
said
game.
6 months. I mean, they said that it was delayed 6 months, which is quite a significant amount of time. It's not like a month or something for polish.
Oh, on top of that, did you see where you can, like, if you want the console version, you can buy the PC version now, and then when it eventually comes out on console, you can transfer your character over for only $20.
Oh, so
What is that? That's interesting.
Oh yeah, I couldn't believe that when I saw it. I was like, really? You're gonna try to sell me on the PC if I was a console gamer, which I'm not. But if I was, you're gonna try to sell me the PC version and then charge me $20 when it comes time to transfer over to the platform I want to be on? I was like, do you really think you're gonna sell me the game like that? I don't think.
I don't think it plays well on a console because of that crosshairs thing.
Well, how does the controller? Because you made a super successful video on YouTube that teaches people how to play it with a controller. So how do you even feel it plays with the controller? I haven't tried it.
The controller works pretty decently. The only, like I say, the only annoying part of it, like it flows, you move around fine, using your attacks seem fine, except for the aiming of your attacks, and it's more specifically in relation to the your melee attacks, because you are required to have that crosshair over the enemy to be able to use your melee attack or to use a lot of your abilities. Now, on the other hand, we're playing the PC version. They didn't optimize it for the controller, so I'm guessing if they did do it for the console version, they're probably going to have a huge aim assist factor, to where when you start aiming towards a person, it's going to snap your controller and make it sticky to the character and stuff, to the characters around there. And I guess if they do that, it could actually work pretty well. I mean, a lot of their menus and everything do have a controller-esque feeling to them still. It actually made it really easy for me to design the controller system for it. I was able to do it to where if I started moving, if you start moving in Elder Scrolls, you'll notice if you're in the menus and you start moving, it automatically closes out your menus again and goes back into the game, which isn't a typical MMO feature. You can usually move around with your menus open. And I think that's partially for their controllers, so if you start moving around, it just closes all the menus for you. And it made it really easy to do that for it. So it can work with the controller. They're just going to have to add in some large aim assist into it.
Do you prefer, how do you play the PC game? Do you like playing it with a controller?
No, I prefer with my mouse and keyboard. That's partially because it allows you to turn around faster. There is a slow turnaround situation in regards to controller and things. It's just you can't snap around real quick.
Oh, right. This is a great video you put out, by the way. So if you guys want to search for this, it's just search how to play Elder Scrolls Online with a controller, or go to JK Kennedy TV on YouTube and find it. But he runs through the whole thing, even showing you how to get This is XPatter, right?
Yes.
Yeah, grabbing XPatter, setting it all up, getting all your keybinds correct, and setting all that stuff up. So, and then, yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. I don't know if there's any... Justin, you kind of jumped on when I said probably not coming out, maybe not coming out, I shouldn't say probably, but possibly the speculation of not coming out on PS4. You kind of said you don't think it is.
I see them more likely going, you know what, we didn't do so well. We haven't seen numbers yet on PC, but I'm not sure how well the numbers did or how well their subs are going to be now. But I think a lot of people are actually leaving. I'm enjoying it and stuff, but there's a ton of people who are just aggravated by the bugs, and that they might just go with another... just say, here, we'll release another Scrolls game by itself. This game's just going to get in the way now. Make money off of it.
We shall see. Total speculation. Absolutely nothing. Seriously. No information on that, but it's interesting to think about. I hope not. I'm really looking forward to it on PS4, actually. I was going to rebuy it. I want to play it on PS4 and see what it's like, so... Maybe. Who knows? We'll see. All right, Justin Kennedy. Follow him on Twitter at JKK Kennedy TV. And, of course, go over to his YouTube channel as well by the same name there. Just go to JKK Kennedy TV on the YouTubes, especially for that Elder Scrolls video. Troy Blackburn. Follow him on Twitter at NoobFridge. You can check out all his writings and words that he throws at GameBreaker.tv on a daily basis. NoobFridge. Hopefully we'll have better internet next week. All right, you can follow me at Gary again and follow GameBreaker TV, GameBreaker TV. Don't forget... Go to gboffer.com/tanks. Check out World of Tanks. Check it. You'll be happy you did. Check it out. Have a great week, everybody. We'll be back. Actually, we won't be back next Friday. Game Breaker shows are all screwed up for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Keep an eye on the Facebook and the Twitters. We're probably doing TWIMMO over the weekend. If you miss it, it'll be on Game Breaker TV. But days and times of all Game Breaker shows completely a little bit screwed up for the next week. So pay attention to Facebook and Twitter, and we'll try and let you know as soon as we know when shows will happen. Have a great week.